You don't want to smoke me, you couldn't handle my substance. He gave me life and assured me abundance. I don't speak broke, sis, I am abundant. My ex, yeah, he's a clown, making fake pages to watch me now. Climbing to the top, they can't stop me now. Got so much sauce, trying to slurp me now. Got my foot on their next nine, letting up. They stomp the yard, time to step it up. Got my foot on their next nine, letting up. They stomp the yard, time to step it up. 2 shows, 3 magazines, been on the radio, I'm not stopping. Wrote a book, best-selling author, my God keeps me popping. I'm affiliate, a life coach, my stock keeps on rising. Wednesdays at 8 o'clock on Facebook, they're watching. You see me? Candy cold, you see me, you see me. Black bags, watching, they wanna be me. How I do is the questions when they see me. So even when I ain't got it, I think I got a genie. Candy cold, you see me, you see me. My words are so powerful, you listen, you might get uplifted. I inspire to inspire, even when you don't show the appreciation, nigga.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Candy-Coated Secrets. You understand, it has been, look, I'm about to say it's been a long time, but it hasn't been that long. I was away celebrating my birthday. So I'm glad that you guys are here tonight. And we have a guest, and I'm going to introduce our guest tonight of the hour. So let me know when you get in here. Say hello in the chat so that I'm able to see you guys and know who's all here with me. It's Wednesday. Okay. I just feel so loud too. Hold on. I feel extremely, extremely loud. Am I loud? But, like I said, make sure you share the show, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are now only 200, I believe, and 20 people away from achieving our goals. So I'll be back getting on your nerves with all of the notifications as they come, okay? So look out for those, like I said. And all right, so let's get into a little bit. So I'm excited because one of the guests, you guys, she's also in the group, she is also a pastor. And don't be afraid to ask any questions, anything that you you may just want to know. What I love about it is that she is so real and down to earth. So without any further ado, let's welcome Angelic. Hey.
Hello, everyone.
How are you doing tonight?
I'm great.
Yes.
I'm great. A little nervous, but I'm good.
You nervous? Don't be nervous. It's just us. Nobody's watching. Other guest that's going to be joining us, you guys, you know her. She's no stranger to CCS, okay? She's been here. She's like the MVP award. She the member that come and go out the group because she say some of y'all be getting on her nerves. She don't like the way y'all thought process go. And I call her my walking encyclopedia, okay? She gonna get me together every time.
Okay.
So, what is going on?
You got me dying laughing over here, girl. You're a piece of work.
How you doing, Sugarfoot?
I'm good. Good. Glad to be here. Glad to be doing this show with y'all.
Thank you. I'm glad that you are here. I'm glad that both of y'all are here. It's so funny. It feels good to me because we was all just on Bible study, okay? So it's like, hello again to all my friends. Here's what we have today. So I'm excited to see you guys. Hey, Sanera. Hey, Moni T. Hey, Monique. How y'all doing? So all right, so let me get into a thing. I just celebrated my birthday again. So happy birthday to me. Shout outs to thank you. Shout outs to Intoxication Cakes of Maryland. They sent me a cake. It was so delicious. It was so good. Thank you for that. You didn't have to do that. I opened up my door one day and boom, there was a whole cake there. And it was so good. Extremely delicious. And yeah, let's get into it. So how is you guys' week going?
So far, so good for me.
Amazing.
I'm thinking going well. I've been doing homework.
Okay. Anything exciting? No. How about you? How about you, Angie? I call you Pastor. How about you, Pastor?
It's been an amazing week. It's been an amazing week. Secured a new domain for the church's new website.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be being built in the next few weeks. A brand new website. One of my best friends down in Charlotte, shout out to Mariah, uh, came on board and helped get it all taken care of. So we are well on our way. So I'm feeling pretty accomplished this week. I'm feeling pretty positive.
Okay, I know that's right. Yeah, solution oriented. I'm
Mhm.
excited about that too. All right, so let's get into something. So one things that we're going to get into tonight is someone would love to know your insight on how on the lifestyle and how you navigate to be a pastor that fully accepts everyone.
Oh, that's real simple. That's real easy because Jesus commands us to do just that. I'm not remixing it or anything.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so obviously the word tells us that the greatest commandment is love, right? And so it
Yeah.
doesn't give us any specificity at where are people that we can include in that. It doesn't tell us to love just the people we like. It tells us to love everyone. It says that he's love. And so inclusion is natural if you are intentional about actually walking out the word in your life. So it doesn't become
Mhm.
a thing that you decide to do. It becomes a commandment that you embrace because you just love God.
Okay. It's a commandment that you're gracious because you love God. So, what makes you different?
I don't know that I'm different. Everybody tells me I'm different. I don't know that I'm different. I think people's experiences and past experiences sort of lend itself to some hurtful experiences as it relates to the church.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, one of them being judgment and criticism and that kind of thing. I think that we experience that in every sect of our culture.
Mm-hmm.
Where there are people, there is judgment. But I think that there is a different expectation from believers, and we haven't always lived up to that. And so that makes it difficult for people to feel safe in a
Mm-hmm.
place where you are supposed to be vulnerable. You need to know that it's safe.
You need to know that it's safe. Shanice, you have anything you want to piggyback off of that?
I would say, like, what advice would you give to like people who like are members of the church to help them kind of walk in that space, like where they're not judging and like not accepting everyone and stuff like that? Because that's rare. I will admit that you're a rare person, very much so, especially a person in your power. Like you're definitely rare.
I mean, for one of the things that I did at the church that I pastored when I first got there was really just teach, right? So if we are preaching the actual gospel, the gospel does the work itself, right? And so if I stick to the gospel is an inclusive message. It doesn't leave people out. As a matter of fact, Jesus was very intentional about ministering on the margins of our culture and our society because he wanted to be inclusive, right? He ate and took had meals with people who were on the margins of the culture, like tax collectors who were very despised in the culture because they were cheats. But they were he considered them to be the people that most needed him. So he didn't. So he would go to their homes and eat. So he ministered on the margins. I think one of the things that we forget is Jesus would be what we would consider today as an unhoused individual. When we see in the word, and Jesus left to go and start his ministry, he left his home and he never returned. He spent his life on the road and he was reliant upon the kindness of strangers. Today, we would call him a vagabond or a homeless person.
Mm.
So he was a part of those of what we consider marginalized folks in the culture.
Okay. So what is it? A lot of the stuff that goes on in society today, I just feel like a lot of the things when it comes to even belief with just even with religion or just everyday life, that it's no, I don't feel like people are really getting to know and do the work and research on their own, as far as like not even wanting better for their lives. I know one of the things that sometimes that I come up against. I'm sorry, I'm doing some stuff that I also come up against sometimes. I'm very, I don't bend when it comes to like my beliefs. You know, of course, Shanice knows that very well. I don't bend when it comes to certain things as far as like my morals and my principles and what I believe. And I know sometimes that when I speak on certain things, it can be a little frustrating for me, only because you always with anything you have those who aren't going to believe everything or aren't going to listen to everything that you say. But sometimes I want to see how I want to put this, because now I think I'm about to have my venting moment. Okay, y'all just bear with me. I don't get to vent that often, but so I stand firm on what I am. So a lot of the things too, um, it's like what we see today on the internet with the man versus woman, and how it's like so much pressure is put on the woman. The woman is held accountable for every single thing. If you're making irresponsible decisions as a partner, oh, it's your woman's fault why you cheating, it's your woman's fault why you got caught, it's the woman's fault because she went in your phone, when ultimately it's like there shouldn't even be anything there to find. You're keeping up. But a lot of the times when how I approach those things, I've noticed that like I've done different platforms and had different conversations with people who they feel the opposite of that, right? So it's just like, hey, everybody's gonna get cheated on. You have to accept the fact that there's no good men out here or anything like that. And then I come in where I'm like, well, I beg to differ. It's nothing wrong with wanting someone that has standards and morals, and the fact that, hey, I don't need you to provide my lifestyle. I can provide without you. But I mean, the goal when I was growing up wasn't to aim for a partner that was broke and ain't had no money and didn't want to do anything. So how does that, culture, like what are some of the issues and things that you see within culture as it relates to just everyday life, whether it could be looked at through the lens of, I feel like the Bible is God's love letter that he gave the world. If you read it, you apply it. So the thing that I did was I began to learn, things on my own and do different exercises and practices, whereas though I'm like, hey, I know that this works because I did it. Knowledge is power. You can't tell me something isn't possible if I know for sure and I've done the work firsthand. So what do you think like some of the issues come in with the things that culture is trying to make appear to be normal and crucify those who are like, I don't go with culture?
Well, the thing about culture is it's always changing, right? It's always shifting, right? And there's a number of different factors that sort of influence the shift, right? Popularity is one of the things that shift culture, right? So something that is popping today might not be popping tomorrow. When I was younger, right, and I was growing up, if at a certain age, if people had bell bottoms on, we'd be like, oh my God, that's from like the 1970s. Like, oh my God, that is so whack, right? And then bell bottoms came back in style. So what happens is that culture shifts and change. And so culture cannot be your barometer for who you are. It can't be your guide for who you are. And so, because culture is always changing and always shifting, right? And there are a lot of things that are purposely put in our culture that sort of informs it, right? So think about years ago when you were growing up and they said, drink milk, and all the celebrities had the milk mustaches, right? And they were promoting milk. Well, it was because your government was in the bid with dairy farmers, and that was a specific agenda, right? Governmental agenda, right? And I'm not trying to go conspiracy theories, but it's a reason that was because so what happened
Look,
is
you find Shanisa join you. She loves conspiracy theories, okay?
So what happened is milk was popularized, right? And we see milk in prisons, and we see them in schools because the government provides subsidies for those, right? So there's a reason why milk wasn't just popping because some doctor said it was popping. Then they told you that you shouldn't drink so much milk. And now everybody's got all of these sort of lactose intolerance and stuff. So culture is always changing, and there's a number of different things and agendas that inform culture. So you can't be making decisions about who you are and how you're going to show up in the world based upon something that is constantly changing. You're never going to be able to catch the needle because it's always moving.
Shanice, girl, come off of mute, girl.
I think that, like I told you a little while ago, that people fail to understand that different perspectives can coexist.
Mhm.
Like, just because you have a certain perspective and I have a different one doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. Like, we're
Yeah.
individuals for a reason. Your
Mhm.
experiences in life are totally different than my experiences in life, so I see the world through different lenses. So it's like people make like issues out of nothing. And then I think too, like, we're kind of being dragged away from the ability to think for yourself.
Yeah.
Like, when I was a kid, my mom gave me a voice as a young black female. You know what I mean? Like, I was able to express my frustrations and express if I was upset or whatever the case may be. Like, we're robbing children of their voices in our culture, particularly. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? So they don't get to say anything. So, you got a bunch of shook up soldiers walking around. I can't stress that enough. So
Yeah.
I think that, it's just a combination of various different things that make the things the way that they are. And then too, you got people who live off drama. Drama releases like a, with my psychology friend that be in here, it releases like a certain type of chemical in your brain that
I know
makes you
what you mean.
attracted to it.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
I can't
we're
think of it.
naturally
It's like an
attracted to it.
endorphin,
Like,
an endorphin or
yeah,
something.
it,
Yeah.
it gives you fuel. Like, you love to
Hmm.
see it. Like, you love to see all of that. So I think that adds to it too, which is kind of sad. And
Yeah.
then the fact that everybody want to promote it. It's
Mhm.
like, let's talk about it. Like, no, let it die. Don't
Yeah.
even give it attention. For what?
And it
Yeah.
takes real courage to live outside of the culture, right? To do the thing, right, that not everyone's doing, right? To show up in the world differently because that's what you feel like you're called to do. It takes real
Yeah.
courage to do
Mhm.
that. And so some of it is a reflection of folks' lack of courage, right? Some people don't even have the courage to wear the kind of clothes that they like, right? They go and they pick things off of a mannequin, right? They don't even have the courage to, and that's because of the way that they've decided to show up in the world, right? And some people are just playing it safe. And I mean there's some areas where I've played it safe and as well.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And I don't I don't really ever play it safe. I've always been, even like my siblings will always they've always called me like the rebel. Like I am the one that is different from all of my mother's children.
Me.
We are not alike. And to me that's not a bad thing. But I love it because I think what contributed to that right is growing up, being dark skinned, in my generation, that wasn't accepted. Even now we see it where they just started putting, thick women on television and darker skinned women on television, giving darker skinned women movie roles and things like that. So that's something. So my complexion is something that I always dealt with growing up. We would play hide and go seek, and it would be like, "Oh, you so black, we only can see you because you smiling or you look like midnight." And I mean, even with my siblings, like used to call me a grease monkey. You know what I'm saying? And so very at a very early age, you know, I like to believe I like to believe that what contributes to me to who I am today as to why I've never was the person to really care what people thought, whether it was anything I did, is because I faced a lot of that early on. Like I say,
Mhm.
sometimes kids can be mean. Kids are very
Mhm.
mean. But at the same time, if my mother, she wasn't ignorant to it either. She knew it existed. She comes from back in the day and stuff like that. And I just remember she would always um, she never heard anybody say anything to me, but I do remember her always talking to me about my complexion. It was always like, you're so pretty, you have the prettiest features. Don't ever allow anybody to make you feel like you aren't enough just because you're darker. So I think that she had taught that and had put that in me because of the challenges of what they grew up in, back in the day. I appreciate that because with dealing with that, if being so little, and when you're growing up, if I would have held on to a lot of that stuff, I probably would be the person that cared what people thought, right? I probably would, have a bunch of insecurities as far as like appearances and being concerned about stuff like that. So I think that, when it comes to these type of things, we have to we it goes back to when we're little. We're taught everything. You didn't come in the world knowing all this stuff. You're taught this stuff. So I feel like that when it comes to that, knowing who you are is very important. And I think that sometimes that gets mixed and screwed, because I've had conversations where I've done different guests, and they'll be like, "Oh, she's triggered," because I like I said earlier, I don't bend. "Oh, she's triggered. Oh, she's this. Oh, you get it." No, it's just that when I know what I know, you can't make me not know. And I'm always open for different perspectives, but I'm always willing to, you know, give you mine. I'm not asking you to accept it because I'm worrying about me. You know what I mean? I only can worry about me. I also know that when we leave here, your God isn't going to say, "Oh, well, Shanice, well, what did you think about Candace?" Like, how he asking you that if you still living? You know what I mean? Like, and I always say that, like, don't nobody know where nobody's going when they leave here. People are going off the things that people aren't doing the knowledge, getting the knowledge and learning on their own. So I just wanted to say that was something too that contributed to why I am the way I am. You know what I mean? I didn't have a parent that, when these slurs were being thrown at me, it was like she didn't acknowledge them. She didn't even know about them with the kids and stuff in the neighborhood, but she always embraced that. So from a very little age, I had to embrace the things that culture and society was saying that was wrong with me. So I just wanted to share that. That to not, this is like my vent session for people, because there's a lot of people that deal with a lot. Like, I know a lot of people that really care what people think about them. I know a lot of people who don't even want to speak up for the things that they feel is right, just because they don't want to be judged or have something that somebody else says. And that's why I am so hell bent on, like, yo, it is okay to have some standards and not go with everyone else.
But I think also it's important to know that when people have comments and say things, that everything doesn't have to be a fight, right? So I don't have to defend everything that somebody says. That somebody can have an opinion of me and
Yes.
I cannot share it, and it just does not have to be a conversation. I don't have to stand on my soapbox. I don't have to advocate for myself in that situation, because what someone thinks of me doesn't really impact my living.
Yeah. Yeah. That part.
So, I think that's important to know, right? So that you don't go out into the world fighting battles that don't need to be fought. Because if you start doing that, what will happen is you will be a very exhausted individual. Um,
Yeah.
because there are going to be a lot of people that have things, but it's important to have community, right? Like you had your mom. It's important to have community that affirms you, right? And accepts you and loves you. And the reason why that's so important is so that when you go out and you're engaging in culture and in the world, you aren't looking for affirmation, right?
Yeah.
You're not looking for the atta girl and atta boy. You're not looking for love. You're not looking for all of those things, right? So when I show up in the world, I show up as my complete self. You know, I was affirmed as a child. I was loved as a child. So when I show up to work, I don't show up looking to receive. I show up looking to give,
Yeah.
right? So when I go out into the world to serve. I come home to get refreshed and to get love. I spend time with my family to get loved, to get hugged, to get affirmed in that way. Now, it's beautiful when I get it, when I'm out in the world from other people, but all of that is really gravy.
Yeah. Shanice, you have anything?
I'm just kind of stoked that she mentioned that, because I just said the same thing on that last show, that I don't think parents realize like how important it is to send your kids outside in the world, love. Like you in your agreement, you don't have to agree with everything they do, but sending them out love. Because I think for me, being a part of like the LGBTQ, I'm gonna just say the alphabet community, it's too much letters. The alphabet community, for me, like I'm loved in real life. Like my mom loves me, my dad loves me, my family loves me for real. Like So when I got out here, my experience is not like everyone else's. I'm an anomaly for real.
Yeah.
So I got to face things differently. Like I'm like she said, I'm not looking for attention. I'm not looking to be accepted. I'm not looking for any of that. So it's like when certain things come my way, like it don't even really phase me. It's like, oh, you feel that way? Now I'm intrigued. I want to know why. Like, why you feel that way? Like, did I
Yeah.
make you feel that way? You know, stuff like that. I can approach it from a different perspective because I'm coming from a different way. Like, I ain't coming from that anger way, like where I feel repressed and all of that kind of stuff. I don't have that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely gotta. I mean, I think family and all that. They the first ones to teach you rejection and what
Yeah,
it feels like
agreed.
to not be accepted. But I also think it's because they're taught wrong and they're not really, doing all the things and doing the research on themselves. They're going off of something that Big Mama told them, and then you be like, well, where is this at, or how did you know this? And it's like, well, don't nobody got an answer, or well, don't question me, or and it's like, no, I
Yeah,
really want to know because I think just as much as people, as hard as it is to try to change and want to be different within self, it's even more of a challenge for you to unlearn, you know, wrong behaviors and
agreed.
dysfunctional stuff like and things like that. So I want to swing over to relationships, and I know y'all like to have like a whole little script. We ain't have a script today. I was trying to get one.
Oh,
Okay.
It ain't work. So I'm always interested. I said I wanted you and Coach to do a show together just because y'all have so many different perspectives when it comes to relationships. So I know you be on social media sometimes, but you're not all the way out there like that. So you don't get to see all the foolishness that goes on. So what is going on, or what do you see happening? Like, what is going on with men complaining about having to be men in relationships today?
you asking me or you asking the
I'm
pastor?
asking both of y'all, but I'm whoever want to go first.
I'll let the pastor take that.
Do you need? Or look, I know you don't be on social media. Do you need some examples?
No. No, I really think that that's sort of a loaded question, right? It's
Yeah.
multifaceted, right? Um, and one of the reasons why I think men have trouble showing up being men, specifically, is because there has been a lot of confusion about roles, and
Mm,
whether or not roles even exist, right? And so, there's been a lot of confusion about that, right? I really believe some of this started with the women's movement, right? When women started to leave their homes and into the workforce, right? And begin to get college degrees and become highly educated, command different kinds of salaries, right? And want to claim their own independence, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
I think that what happened is that women commanding um, higher salaries and being driven and professional, really led to a lot of confusion in terms of role reverse of roles, right? Because men associated their role as provider as the one who made the money. And so when you have women into the equation who are commanding salaries in often cases larger than their male counterparts, because of the sort of level that we're women are becoming educated, and even now Black women are obtaining degrees and advanced degrees at such an alarming rate. Men are trying to figure out where it is they fit, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I will state unequivocally that my position is that a man is a provider, right? That I look to a man to be a priest, protector, and a provider. And if I'm coming to the table and he's coming to the table, and I am given 50% financially speaking, and he's given 50%, I can get one of you off Craigslist. It's called a roommate. No, thank you. I don't want
Say it again. She said
right.
she don't do 50-50.
Yeah, I don't do 50. I'm not doing 50-50. And if that works for you, right?
Yeah.
If that's your story and that works for you, God bless you. Do what works for you. But know that
yeah,
you cannot pull Pastor Williams wanting to be and people call it equal partnership and all that. No. Men and women were not created equal. We were not created equally anatomically speaking. We are not created equal. You know, if
Mhm.
men pick up heavy items, they acquire muscle. We keep picking up heavy items. Eventually, our uterus is on the ground. We were not created equal.
Literally. No, but literally, that's a fact, like for real.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know, so I think that there has been some issues with you know, the way men show up because of the simple fact that, you know, there's been some confusion about who does what. And so, you know, some women think that, oh no, I think you all posted in the group a video and this girl was like, you know, sometimes I do 60 and sometimes God bless you, baby. God bless you. If that
Yeah.
works for you, right? If that
Yeah.
works for you, not really going to be my testimony, but you know, if that works for you, you know, God bless.
Yeah.
You know, I read a Bible that says if a man don't work, he don't eat.
Hmm.
Not
Yeah.
now he come home and eat my T-bone. Yeah.
Now you come
I'm a,
home and eat my T-bone.
yeah, I'm a
Yeah, because
pass
I
on
saw
that.
something that was. I feel like this too. A lot of stuff that I see into with this stuff, men are requiring women to do that as girlfriend boyfriend. And for me, I just feel like certain things I'm just not doing with a boyfriend, such as buy a house, such as you know, running your. Oh, I almost cursed. Look at the enemy wanted me to curse, but she over here. Girl. Such as running your bath water, making you got a home cooked meal every night. I just have a problem with that because I just feel like, well, why buy a cow when you get the milk for free? That whole analogy is just like, all right, if I'm giving you and we doing everything, what is there to look forward to?
Well, people also say, you know, that marriage is just those are people that are subscribed to that are also the same kind of people that say marriage is a piece of paper. Well, marriage isn't a piece of paper to me. You know what I mean? It's a
Mm-hmm.
covenant, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
in a covenant is like this vow that we make before God, and so this is like a three-way agreement. It's just not me and you. It's me, you, and God. So I think that is, you know, that is just merely for me an example of just playing house without a license. And you know, and if that
Mm-hmm.
works for you, God bless you. But you know, yeah, you either we're gonna be in covenant or we're gonna be in nothing. You know what I mean? I'm gonna come to my house and you're gonna go to your house. But I think everybody different, you know, different strokes for different folks. Um,
Yeah.
I think for me personally, there's been I have difficulty dating. I was married for a very long time, and so I have difficulty dating because I am so accustomed to being a wife. So sometimes women are showing up and doing things in relationship not because you know it's being required of them or they desire to it or they just get, but sometimes women like me personally is still learning how to show up in a non-covenant relationship as I should, right? So that's why I ain't doing a whole bunch of dating because I show up as wife because I was somebody's wife for 21 years, you know. So
Okay.
you come over, I want to make you dinner, you know. I mean, you know, I want to make you dinner, you know. Let me see the
Mm-hmm.
salmon and you know, and saute the broccolini. Let me get it together. I want to pack the lunch so you can take it home and you can have something tomorrow for lunch, you know, because I'm used to being somebody's wife. So
Yeah.
sometimes women are showing up in those relationships that way out of a matter of habit, right? Maybe they were reared a certain way as a young person. And
Mm-hmm.
so if you were reared as young, a certain way as a young person, you know, in some household, women were accustomed to serving men, right?
Mm-hmm.
And showing up quite a lot differently, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that that's also a factor as well.
How
So
about you, Shawnee?
yeah.
Look,
I
I
mean,
even told her before the show, I was like, this is going to be difficult because I thoroughly just enjoy like our conversations that I have with her. So you guys, if y'all notice, like I'm a little like, it's just because I just love having a conversation with her just to listen to the insight. And sometimes it allows me to also know that I ain't crazy, you know, or that is, you know, I'm not the only one in the world that feels that way. So,
What
pardon
do you
me
think
if I'm
should be?
just sitting here taking it all in. What you gonna say,
uh,
Shanice? Not you
I
blowing
don't
before you
know,
talk.
cause I don't date men, so I've never dated men. So I don't even look at them in a way of, hey, you know, like type deal. So, But for me, I will say that there's been like a huge like division problem to me. And I think that if we turn the TV off and kind of break away from society a little bit, we can create our own norms. Because I think that what I do love about what the pastor said is her personally. That's her personal feelings toward how she's guiding her specific life.
Yeah.
You know, and I think when we get on social media, you got people that make these things feel like it's matter of fact.
Yeah.
So then you got people who not walking in a certain kind of lifestyle to beget those kind of things.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like you just going by hearsay, you listening to what other people say, and you trying to align those things with a life that you're not prepared for because you're not walking in that kind of life. You know what I mean? So I think that that's a part of the issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
And so
Because we
since
don't
you're
have roles with us. Like in our space, we don't have all that. It's just like get it done.
yeah,
Period.
and since you're not really into men, I think it's cool because I like your perspective too on the other side as far as like what do you see? Like are men I feel like when a man is just sleeping around with a whole bunch of people, he's searching for something. It's like a lack thereof with something in himself. You know, there's a lack of love.
You try to drag me out into the gutter, girl.
Ah, I'm trying.
As
You
a
know,
recovering cheater, because I don't like to speak on things and feel like a hypocrite. Because I'm in recovery.
yeah,
Been in recovery for quite some years. But as a person who did that, I will say that it's you're distant from self. You don't know yourself and you don't love yourself enough. And I
yeah,
think it sounds cliche, but when I went to therapy, I unpacked it. You don't love
yeah,
you enough. That's why you're doing all that. Because you could just be honest about who you are. Think about it. If you're single and when you're single, you can do what you want. You can sleep with who you want. You can maneuver how you want, all of those different things. But if you decide to bring someone along on a journey and commit to someone and you can't do that, it's a you issue. It don't have
yeah,
nothing to do with them. It's a you problem, and you need to get to the center of that. And a lot of it comes from trauma. Because I know for me, it was trauma. Like for me, showing up in that space, I felt like that was all I had to offer because I didn't know who I was.
yeah.
Come on, girl.
Well,
Preach.
listen, girl,
Preach.
you went somewhere I wasn't even going because I wasn't even thinking about you. That question, I ain't even finished it. You see how you just jumped up out there? What I was but what I was going to say to also finish that statement is the fact of I know that sometimes we have conversations where we discuss what we see is this, and it's like men are trying to make up for the lack of being masculine. Do you remember some of those conversations we have?
I think it's both sided though. I don't think it's just men. Like, I got several male friends, and I mean some of the stuff women say too is ridiculous. Like they can't
Yeah.
eat an ice cream out in public. They
Right.
can't eat a banana properly because they're gay. Like, I mean, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. Can you imagine being a man and having to live under that much pressure, bro? You can't cry because you weak. You can't eat a banana in public. You wash it between your butt. You might be. I even seen something like that. Washing it
Yeah.
between your butt make you gay.
Make
It's like,
yeah.
I mean, come on, like, what do you
Yeah.
expect from them? So I don't think it's just men. I think it's just the
Mm-hmm.
stupid or ignorant conversations that are had between both men and women. Because it's almost like a blame game. It's like, when are we gonna find a medium?
Yeah.
Like, when are we gonna come to a common ground and be like, we need each other?
Yeah.
To me,
Yeah.
that's just my opinion.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. No, that is so true because I be seeing it online too, where honestly, it's really they always say it's the women that's so hard on men, but men are harder on men than we are.
Horrid to each other. They
Yeah,
are
like
horrid to one another.
exactly. Like they're the ones that are more hard up on each other as far as now if you had feelings, they created this simp
You
word.
would think.
They created this simp word. And I feel like I always say this, rest his soul, but I feel like Kevin Samuels gave a lot of people a voice that didn't have a voice. And kind of like what Trump did for everyone, in his lane, gave people voices that didn't have voices. And it's just like a lot of them don't even see that they have their own issues. Like now when they talking and they say stuff, they say pause. Or wait a minute, let me put that in the hole. Pause. Wait a minute. And it's like, Where did all this begin? You can't even have a sentence without the sentence having to be non-homophobic.
Right, like no homo, because that drives me nuts. Like, who said that? Who's
Yeah.
thinking that? Like, nobody said that. But I think
Yes.
too, we got to start learning the difference between rhetoric, meaning people who out here just saying nonsense because it runs up profit, and people who actually care about your well-being.
Yeah.
That's where discernment comes into play. Because
Mhm.
people run
Absolutely.
behind people like you don't even know these folks. You don't know Kevin Samuel, and then on his deathbed, we find out that he ain't even practicing half of the stuff he preaching. But y'all
Mm,
following him
yeah.
ignorantly and blindly. It don't
Yeah.
make sense.
Yeah.
That too, with
That's
that
why I
whole
said we
situation,
learning how to not think for ourselves. It's crazy.
I was gonna say that too, but that whole Kevin Samuel situation, that too, to me, highlighted our attraction as Black women to abuse.
Mm.
Yes.
Let's get into that. Hold that thought. Hold that thought. Hold that thought.
Have you ever seen a cake that tastes just as good as it looks? Check out Intoxication Cakes of Maryland. That's right, they're known for their exquisite signature rum cake. Whenever you get in the mood for an alcohol kiss, make sure you check out Intoxication Cakes of Maryland. Local pickups and shipping available.
Perfect exfoliator that your skin has been needing for amazing results. This is the Clay and Olive Oats and Bamboo Face Polish, which is designed to be mixed by you before every use to maximize the exfoliation that your skin will experience. I apply it to freshly clean skin, and I love the fact that my skin feels renewed after rinsing. I'm obsessed with how this face polish makes my skin feel and look more even overall. After using, follow up with your favorite serum and moisturizer, and you're good to go.
Head over to It's Bee's Little Boutique on Facebook and Instagram. They have eyelashes, sunglasses, lip gloss, and so much more. Make sure you tell them Miss Vibrations sent you.
Hi, and we are back. Yes, can we get into that? What you just said, Miss Thang.
I was just saying about the whole Kevin Samuel thing. I think that was, a clear indication of our attraction and our inclination to abuse. I mean, he was very, very abusive. And not only was his viewership driven up despite his abuse, but other women chimed in and supported the abuse that he was given to other women. And so then we became co-conspirators in one another's abuse. And so and humiliation and all of that. And so to me, that begs the question, what is broken in me that I would tolerate this? And what is deficient in me that I would be attracted to a platform that
That part.
reigns in abuse, right?
That part.
So
No, that part. Keep on,
This is
girl. Keep
different,
on.
bro.
Yeah.
self-examination piece, right? About who we allow to pour into us, right? Because oftentimes what's happening is we are allowing people, you may not go to church, right?
Yeah.
But somebody's preaching to you, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Somebody's poured into your spirit, right? So
Yeah.
whether that be a podcast, someone on social media, the post that you like, and you can tell, right? Because in some of these groups and some of these sites, you're the top fan, and you're a top fan in something that is consistently toxic. So you can
Mm.
examine where you are because you didn't earn a badge for your toxicity because of
Yeah.
your
Mm,
attention to that which doesn't make you better.
Yeah.
mm,
No, that was something that Shanice was present for that. We would go back and forth about it when when Kevin Samuels was a thing, especially in CCS with like some of the men. It like I saw sides of people that I never even knew had these sides. A lot of them were in relationships. A lot of them were married. A lot of them did have daughters. And it's like, oh my God, how are you agreeing with this man? So I remember one time, right? You guys give us a heart and thumbs up, share the show and subscribe. I remember this one time, Shanice, you'll remember, Pastor, you weren't there yet.
mm.
I had watched a piece of his show because I like to do the research, and I posted something that he said. I didn't say where I had got it from. I just reposted it and
I
was like, "What are
remember.
y'all thoughts on this?" And those same men who were like in agreement with him was like, "Oh, that's jacked up. Where does this come from?" Do you remember that, Shanice?
I do.
And
I
they were
do.
like this, and like the thread had gotten so long, and I was just sitting there letting the thread just keep on going and keep on going. I'm like, really? You don't think this? Oh no. I wouldn't ever tell my daughter that the only time she could find a man is if she's in college, this, and the third. And then after that, I was like, oh wait, but y'all know this is what Kevin Samuel said. And it was crickets. And I think only one was like, well, I never said I agree with everything he said. I'm like, you a daggone lie. So it's
Yeah.
like, I think it depends sometimes too, like on the sender. If we were to take some of these things that people follow and repost them, ask people a question about it and not, let you know where it came from, people's answers would change. So then that let me know, like, oh yeah, you're just a follower. You're just a follower. You don't know. You just going with whatever, like you say, it's relating and it resonates with you. So you're making it be law. So you know what I mean? It's like, what's going on? Can y'all see the comments? Come on, go ahead. Look at me. I'll do something. Go ahead. Read the comment out loud, Shanice.
They said broken clock is right twice out the day. There are times he was egregious, largely, and others where he didn't deliver a message that wasn't palatable, but it was something that challenged people to search themselves. But how many people are actually doing the work though? Just because you hear it don't mean you're doing the work. My mom used to tell me stuff all the time as a kid that I heard, but I ain't really care about it. It's like she
Yeah.
don't know what she's talking about. Not that she been here decades longer than me, but I digress.
I mean, the thing that said the comment before that said that a broken clock is right twice a
Oh,
day,
I can go back to that. Hold on. Go ahead.
right? And that is very much true, right? And saying that some of the messages weren't palatable, but it challenged people, right? Here's the problem. Here's the problem with that, though, right? If there's 24 hours of the day, and only twice a day that clock is right, based on the statistical odds of it being incorrect, would lead why why do I find value in something that is only right? Statistically speaking, it doesn't serve you, right?
Yeah.
And so that it goes back to the question, why would I allow someone to pour into me whose odds are so poor?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And let's not take away from the fact that the clock is broken.
Right.
That
It's
part.
broken.
Yeah, I think sometimes like that's what it is. I love, and that's another reason why like I created a platform, because I love to see people perspectives. I love to see what people think, and then sometimes it'd be like they can prove your point sometimes with just their response, and you'd be like, do you not know what you just said? Or like, hey, wait a minute, you're proving my point a little bit.
You know, I've been there.
Yeah, and I know, someone in particular, like she was a woman, and I'm like, and I used to ask her, I was like, yo, how do you sit and watch this man? Like she loved him, but she also didn't fit the bill. Like she was married, she is married, she all that. And I used to say, how do you sit and just watch him? Because I was like, to me, he's a part of the problem with society and culture. Like he adds to it. And she would just be like, well, because some of the stuff he be saying is right, sometimes we do overlook the good guy, or we do have all these things on this list that we want. And then you have me who, I had a teacher teaching me, my life coach teaching me things, showing me things, pouring in me, and, introducing me to the word. And it's like, wait a minute, but you can have everything that you want. You can have the desires of your heart. It's written. So why would you settle for anything that you don't want?
The other thing I was going to say too about that, and this is not really to make this sort of a thing about this guy Kevin Samuels, right? But just as a rule of thumb, when you are being inclined to be a part of anyone's viewership, right, is to consider delivery, right? So I want to be stretched, right, and I want to grow as a person, right? But I don't desire to be in the midst of something that has a dirty delivery, right? I don't need a dirty delivery to stretch me. I don't need a dirty delivery to challenge me. And so we have to be careful that what we are calling what we are calling sort of this ability to challenge us isn't these dirty deliveries that really are toxic in and of itself, right? So even if the message was perfect, right? Even if the message was without flaws, if the delivery is dirty, right? And the delivery is toxic, then how does it make me better, right? Because I can't receive under those circumstances, right? I can't receive. You can't cuss me out, even if you cussing me out about being a better person, right? I have a difficulty receiving from that kind of delivery. So yeah, so it's important, I think, too, to just know what kind of delivery you want to receive. I don't expect everybody to coddle me or hold my hand, right? You shouldn't either. Some deliveries and some messages will need to be direct, but they should always be loving.
Yes.
Mm.
So you can always tell when someone else is getting to someone else's head. The previous comment was saying that he didn't just bash women; he also did it to men. Yeah, I just want us to be better. A lot of times my friends, they'll be like, oh, they'll get upset. Like, I see so many people, paying attention to so much negative stuff. And here it is, you actually have stuff of substance and quality. And it's like, I just be like, dang, why my friend don't have this? And I always tell them, like, it takes a certain type of person to just sit and be in drama all day, to be
I'm
miserable,
telling you.
to spread negativity. And I just choose to have a positive platform where we can discuss the things and, not always agree on things. You know what I'm saying? And I can't, like I said, I can't really be negative and stuff all day and toxic all day because I'm naturally not that. You know what I mean? I'm always looking to learn and have conversations that challenge me to look at different things and stuff like that. So I challenge you to like ask yourself, what are you pouring into you? Like, what are you looking at? What is it that you're working on? Because it says a lot to you. Everything comes on a vibration. Go ahead and read that comment, Shanice. You might help her tonight with this.
Not I'm the reader. It
Yeah.
says, oh, okay, from the way Miss Angelic just worded that about dirty deliveries, I get that. But some people need that directness, though. But like you said, it has to be out of love, though. Is it a need, though? Like, is it a need, or is that something that we've been taught?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I understand that there's going to be situations where you aren't going to be able to pretty up the message, right? And
Yeah.
the message is going
Yeah.
to have to come straight down your street, right? But I just don't see the value in some of the nastiness and the ugliness with it, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
especially if what I'm saying I want you to believe is for your good.
Yeah.
If I want you to believe it's
Agreed.
good, and I want you to believe it's for your growth, and I want you to believe it's because I'm trying to help you, you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
think delivery matters, right? The old folks used to say you can catch more with honey than you can
And
with
shit.
vinegar, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
sometimes
Mhm.
message and the delivery, if the goal, right, is for the person to receive it, and if the goal is for them to actually be better, right? Then the delivery, you will take care in that delivery, right? But if the goal is for you to is for you to tell them off, if the goal is for you to come straight down their street, if the goal is for you to get them together, as people say, then a nasty delivery accomplishes that.
Yeah.
So what's
And
your
I
goal?
think too, like, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're
Go ahead.
fine.
I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying that's so what your motive is matters.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. That's why I was about to go with that because there's a difference between delivering a message and feeling the need to degrade people.
Yep.
Why I couldn't stand behind him is because he degrades people
Yes.
regularly. You
Yes.
don't have to do that to get a message across.
Yeah.
Delivery doesn't mean that I have to completely rip you apart or
Yeah.
humiliate you or embarrass you in order for you to understand me. That's insanity to me.
Mhm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's insane. And I can't watch somebody do that to other people and then look past that just to be like, oh, well, sometimes, they are nice. That's insane to me. That's like being an innocent bystander to nonsense.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
And I
not to
just
get
don't
all
have that.
churchy, and not to get all churchy on y'all, but at some point, right? We are going to have to be accountable for the words that we speak,
Yeah.
right? So we're going to have to give an
Mm-hmm.
account for the words that we speak. So let your words be chosen carefully, right? Sometimes we do a lot of unnecessary talking, right? Where we just yapping about nothing, right? And it brings no
Mm-hmm.
value, no edification. And so continue, if you feel like you're going to be able to give an account for it, you're going to have to give an account for the words that
Yeah.
you come out your mouth, right? So
Yeah.
people are out here committing all kind of murder, right? Right, people are dying, right before, in between Bible study and us doing this, right? I got a call from one of our members. One of his best friends was killed last night, right here in Baltimore, right? And so people are being murdered. But one of the things that we overlook is the murder that takes place when we open up our mouth. We are murdering people with our mouths,
Mm.
committing whole crimes, right? Tearing
Yeah.
people's spirit down, and people will respond in a way like they aren't bothered or whatever. I'm not paying you, but you don't know the tears that they cry in their pillow, right? You don't know how much closer you are pushing them to the edge where they are contemplating taking their lives. You don't know the injury and the damage that it is causing when you open up your mouth and you spew out negativity, discord, hate. Your mouth is a weapon, right? And so you got to be careful. Murder's being committed, but a lot more murder than what we think. All right. Right with the mouth.
Yeah, and you know what? That's something that I discovered too, that even in a relationship, I can't, once upon a time, it was okay for us to curse and call each other everything under the sun and just you dropping F bombs while you talking to me. But it, as I got older and started to learn, it was like, oh, I can't even be with somebody that's talking to me any kind of way. Mm-hmm. I take my hat off, I love people who can do it. You know what I'm saying? Like we talked about, like you said, you're a recovering cheater, things like that. I think that is great for people who can do that. They can stay and deal with that. I think it's great for people who can still cock their legs open to somebody that just called you a B and bopped you upside your head. You know what I'm saying? I think that's great if that's something that you could do, but I'm not able to do that. It's just that certain things I'm just not going to tolerate. You're not going to talk to me any kind of way. I remember one person, this guy before, he had said something crazy and was like, "Oh my gosh, you don't want to talk to me no more because of that?" But we've been having so much fun. We get along. No, because I don't talk to me crazy. I'm already over here doing the self-work. I'm learning different behaviors. I gotta stop talking to myself crazy, whether it's girl, you look fat today, whether you look skinny, just all that self-talk that we do to ourselves. So I'm not gonna be over here working out the stuff that I'm already saying to myself mentally and deal with what you saying on the exterior, you coming at me too. You know what I mean? Words have power, more power than people think. And it's just like, I don't know. I just can't do it. That was something that I do know that I had set up that became a standard of mine. You're going to talk to me the same way I talk to you.
I think it deeply saddens me sometimes because a lot of times we're not taught how to properly communicate. And I
Yeah.
think I wouldn't have learned that if I never had a child.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had to realize that he has child brain and I have almost 40-year-old brain. So when he was behaving certain ways or he was reacting to things certain ways, I expect him not to do that. And it's like he's a kid, bro. Like he don't even know nothing of what you know. He not where you at. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I had to start teach. Like now I'm in the process of teaching him how to regulate his emotions. Like you frustrated. That's what frustration feels like. You're angry. That's what anger feels like. You know what I mean? Or he can come to me and be like, "Hey mom, you made me feel frustrated today." Nobody teaches us that, bro. Can you go back in your childhood and think about a time where somebody sat you down and was like, "Hey, this is how we communicate." So I think a lot of that stuff comes from things like that too. Like
Yeah.
don't nobody really teach us how to do that. We just go off the wall. I remember being a hothead too. Until my
Yeah.
mom used to always say, stop letting folks control you. They know you a hothead. They're going to tempt
Yeah.
you and make you zap out. And in your
Yeah.
mind, you convincing yourself that they made you zap out when you just chose to.
Yeah.
I had to be taught that. If she
Yeah.
never kept drilling that into me, I would have never got that. Don't
Yeah.
nobody really teach us those type of things. I think we
Mm-hmm.
need more spaces for stuff like that. Because I don't think
Yeah.
people intentionally mean to break barriers and stuff like that or come
Yeah.
off crazy. Nobody
Yeah.
teach people how to communicate, man. Like, we don't know how to communicate with each other.
Yeah.
That's true. That is so true. I'll share one of my parenting failures. My daughter, when she was growing up, particularly as she became a teenager, right? And so of course I don't know. I know this in hindsight, right? I didn't know it then. Was because I was raised where children were seen and not heard, and
Mm-hmm.
you didn't always have a voice. And so I applied those same sort of things with my daughter. And when she was a teenager and she would get really, really mad and upset, right? She would be like, just trying to and just sort of holding it in her. She'd be huffing and puffing, and her eyes would be full of water, and she would be like, like the Incredible Hulk, right?
Yeah.
Because
Mm-hmm.
and so what happened is I would years later I would remember those moments, and in hindsight what I recognize is that she was holding all of those emotions, right? And holding in her anger, right? Because I didn't give her a voice to express. And so because I didn't make space for her to have a voice to express, what happened is she would learn to like sort of hold it in. And so I find that to be a failure on my part. So I think what happens is that we don't always recognize our failures so that we can do better. Um, and so now that I have my granddaughter, she has lots of space to communicate and talk, and probably too much, her mother says, like, oh my God, you didn't do that with me. I came when I studied abroad years ago in Poland. I had did some study abroad on the Holocaust, right? And when I realized in my studies that standing, right, was a form of torture, right, and in Nazi Germany. So it was one of the forms of torture, right? I became convicted because that was one of the things I would do to punish my daughter was I would make her stand in the corner. And so I don't do I wasn't making my grandkids stand in no corner. I wasn't doing that. So we learn and get better. But here's the thing that I'm trying to highlight here. If we don't recognize our own
Mm-hmm.
imperfections, right? And the fact that we didn't make all the right decisions. We didn't always do right? And the reason why I'm open, right, is because I understand that I know more today than I did on yesterday, and I want to
Yeah.
learn from yesterday. I want to
Yeah.
learn from yesteryears because it helps inform who I am going to be becoming. But if we're so restricted, right, and so closed down that we already know it, right, and that we aren't open to change and open to expansion, then we lose the potential to even grow as a person.
I
Yeah,
agree.
look, since we all talk about our comments and where we short and where we highlight at, definitely, I see that as well, especially just from being a teenage mother. As a teenager, I daggone sure ain't know, nothing about being a parent. Um, and I'm able to see where I too did a disservice. But what I will say is that it's because of her. It's probably why I went locked up. Okay, you understand? It's her. I feel like I do. I feel like that. She was sent to hmm to change me in the sense of to give me a purpose as far as to not fall off the chain. And I used to fight all the time, was upset. I always say all the time, like if I wasn't a mother, I probably would have been, as we call it today, a bum, smoking weed all day, doing nothing, begging for $40. I probably would have been that because with being a teenage mother, I had somebody else I had to provide for. So I couldn't like I come from the family of, we ain't watching no kid. Like she was mine. You know what I mean? Every day, all day. And of course, at that time I did have her father and we were together for 17 years. So that was great too. That was great to have that as well. But at the same time, um, I see I she changed me and made me want to become better and to learn and grow myself because I had to realize that our kids we are their first role model. We are their example. We are what they see. And I mean, I remember when she was growing up, sometimes like I seen her one time with blonde hair, and this guy was like, she would the hair put her wig on, she would put her tracks and it would be blonde, but she also sometimes will take I thought I had a lip pencil, and she'll put a little more right here, right? And I used to hear me every day, and I'm not paying it no attention like that. But I was like, okay. And I said, look at this girl. And he said, she you inspire her, like she looks up to you. And she was a daddy's girl. So I'm not thinking that, because she's a daddy's girl. And I was like, no, I was like, trust me, this girl is crazy about her father. But I had to really sit and reel that in, like, no, she do clearly. So that's why I had to get myself together, because she came to me at 12 years old. And a lot of times, you know how we don't consider our kids when it comes to our relationships. That's like the last thing that we let our kids speak on. I don't know about y'all. You know, y'all in the comments, you can let me know. But I know for me, it was like, you ain't gonna tell me who I can be with, especially if I feel like this good man laying pipe, okay? But cover your ears, Pastor, cover your ears. But I'm just saying, you know, so it wasn't until we had a conversation and she was 12 years old and we were talking, because, you know, I was no longer with her father. And she was like, you know, I don't want you to be with my father. You know, I'm thinking I'm fighting, trying to stay on, you know, keep family alive. And I'm like, well, why? And she just was like, you know, when you with him, you either sad, you're arguing, you know, it's up and down, it's a roller coaster. And at this time, he had a new girlfriend at the time, and she was like, and you know, to make you even feel better, like, he ain't faithful to her either. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what you mean? She like, well, when I'm over there, he be having her watch me while he go over such and such house, or I was just with such. So, you know, we don't think our kids pay attention.
Woo,
You know
Jesus.
what I'm saying? Yeah, she don't think our kids pay attention, but it was in that moment where I said, oh, I have to get this together. I have to let this relationship go, because she's watching and she's paying attention. And I mean, I think for people, I guess I said all that to say that if you're struggling with trying to do better and to be better, I say ask your kids. You know, listen to your kids. You know, they can see the things that you can't see, just like you can see the things in them that they can't see. And sometimes they aren't always wrong. And when it comes to me even dating now, oh, I listen to her. Like, she's partially, besides the other one that wasn't anything years ago, but she's partially part of the reason why I stopped seeing another person. Well, as she's older now, that I stopped seeing somebody, because she's like, yeah, he giving my father vibes, ma. Like, you know what I mean? And I was like, for real? She was like, listen, if you like it, I love it, you know? And then when the roles are reversing, I'm giving her advice about who she's seeing. Of course, she can't hear it. She thinks she knows best. But I definitely know that being a teenage mother and just having somebody else, you know, it pushed me to stay out of trouble and to grow and to want more. You know what I mean? Even now, like we talked about recently, I've been in a situation where I talk to guys like you said, and they'll say, oh, you think you better. Oh, she bougie. Oh, she this. Oh, she that. And I'm like, because I don't want you to talk to me any kind of way. Because I'm not rubbing your feet because you're not my husband. You know what I mean? Because I'm not staying with you and you're a compulsive liar. Like, you're going against my morals. You
See,
know what I mean?
he makes sure he gonna keep that in mind. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just stuff like that I feel like, you know, I don't know why. Like, I want us to touch on that before we go. Why are the ones that say, no, you're not going to treat me any kind of way? Why are we frowned upon? Why are we labeled?
Rejection is a hard thing, Candace. Rejection is not easy. And I think that a lot of people don't know how to accept it. So they start like trying, instead of, like we said in Bible study earlier, one of the things I've been trying to do in my life, like, is try to relate stuff to growth. Like, when I see bad stuff or stuff that I don't agree with or whatever the case may be, I'll be looking at myself. Accountability, like that person just said.
Yes.
I'll be looking at myself like, what in me is making me feel some type of way about this? You know what I'm saying? Or how can this play out in my life where this can help put some tools in my toolbox, as my mom like to call it? And I think that we just kind of did that more, it would be more beneficial, bro. Like if you could just be like, hey, like, why am I so triggered by this? Or why am I so upset? Or why can't I receive this in this kind of way? It's like everything is outward. Like you
Yeah.
reject me and now I'm pissed. Now I want to call you fat or ugly or all of that. And it's just projection. It's
Mhm.
projection. That's all it is. You just
Yeah.
projecting, bro. Just like with kids, we zap out on them. And one of the things my therapist told me is children are a mirror. It's
Mm-hmm.
like looking at yourself in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So when you see things in them that frustrate you, look at you
Yeah.
first, because where they learn it from,
Mm-hmm.
who they
Yeah,
spend the most time with.
my coach used to always say when I would fuss or something, she would be like, "Hey," I'd be like, "What?" She'd be like, "Can you find it? You know, like, can you
Right.
find it within you? This problem that you having
Listen.
that somebody's giving you, can you find it? Because I'm sure you can if you decide to look."
And
You
when
know,
you start looking at life like that, though, you can offer more grace.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
can.
That's true. I was gonna say sometimes too, Candace, we are literally just swimming in the wrong body of water, right? So if
Mm,
you are consistently um in conversation with someone that you are dating or trying to date or getting to know, whatever the case
Mm-hmm.
may be, and people are consistently having struggles and difficulty, right, with basic things like boundaries
Mm-hmm.
and respect and how you want to be treated and how they need to show up in a relation in a friendship, right, in any kind of ship, right. It's possible that you just in the wrong body of water, right. It's
Mm-hmm.
possible that you in the pond and you belong in the ocean,
Yeah,
right,
that's true. Yeah.
because oftentimes we can oftentimes attract people
mhm,
um, that sort of represents our own brokenness.
Mm.
mm,
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely. That's why I
So
always say you
it's
are what
some
you
of these
attract.
deficiencies in us, right? And so even when you realize, okay, that last relationship didn't work, right? Maybe the question isn't like, oh girl, I was tripping. Maybe the question really is, what is broken in me
Mm-hmm.
that
yes.
I would even choose
Yep.
that to be in
Mm-hmm.
partnership and to be in relationship with that. Because if I don't address that, then what happens is my picking keeps consistently being imperfect, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I keep attracting the thing that I don't want, right?
Yeah.
Because there's something in me that isn't healed, right? And I don't know why, and Shanice has mentioned it multiple times. I don't know why it is in our community, right? That we are afraid to process, right? Our struggles, our weaknesses, our difficulties, and even celebrate our success professionally, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the context of therapy, right? I'm a Wednesday at 2 kind of a girl each and every week, right? Because I understand that I need a professional, right? Because I understand I have some traumas and some triggers, and I care
Mhm,
about how I show up in the world, and I
Yeah.
wanna walk
mhm.
around and I wanna be whole. So I am a firm believer in both Jesus and therapy. And so, sometimes we just need to process that. And sometimes all the self-talk, positive self-talk that we can do, right? All the books that we can read, and even all the prayers that we can pray, right? Sometimes we still need some professional help, right?
Yeah.
We can't
Agreed.
just wing it, right?
Yeah, that definitely. And that was something that I had to learn, and I was glad that I had been taught that, because when it comes to situations like that, I always stop and check, like, hold on, what do I need to see here? What's going on with me? But like I said, I usually encounter it more because I have a platform.
Mhm.
So it's usually in doing more in conversation, like, oh shit, stuff like that. And then it's just like, it's a bunch of weirdos out here, anyway, and stuff like that. But yeah, definitely you gotta do it. I always say, like, you are what you attract. You gotta be what you want. And it was like once I started being better and I got better, I attracted better.
Mhm.
I attracted
Yep.
better.
Yep.
And then sometimes when I wasn't specific, as far as, sometimes a piece of crap just showed up. You know what I mean? I'm like, whoa, I didn't ask for this at all.
Mhm.
But definitely I think we just need to do the work on self and, get to know you, and you find out what you like and what you don't like. And before we get out
So
of here, you guys, go ahead and say what you about to say, Shanice.
Something else I wanted to piggyback off of Miss Angelic too is that we've been taught in our community that vulnerability is a weakness,
Hmm.
and it's
Mm-hmm.
not.
No.
Like I'm telling you, I've been trying to heal from trauma for a couple of years now, and boy, it's the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life. Like hands down, I don't think I would have did it if I didn't have a child. Honestly speaking, it's just me being vulnerable, and I just learned that in this space, if you are not vulnerable, you ain't gonna make it.
Hmm. Hmm.
You ain't gonna make it. You gonna have to break
Yeah.
down. You gonna have to be okay with people not accepting you. You
Hmm.
gonna have to be all right with just being sad sometime. All of that. You gonna have to like really reveal your inner being, bro. Like in order for you to reach the next level. Like, and vulnerability is something in our community that we have been taught as a weakness, and I despise that so much because
Hmm.
it's a
Yeah.
necessity.
Yeah.
Because we human.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you need to
And,
be able to do that in safe spaces, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
agreed.
sometimes that lack of vulnerability is because the space isn't safe, right? Um,
Exactly. That's why I love that you spoke on therapy because
mm.
that's a safe space.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, Jesus said Wednesdays at 2, baby. But before you close your show, I just want to make sure that I extend an invitation to all your viewers to come and explore their faith with me over at St. Luke United Methodist Church, 1100 North Gilmore in West Baltimore, where I'm over there. I'm the pastor over there. I've been over there for a little over a year and a half. We are just building a community that is inclusive, where everybody can find Jesus. And so don't feel compelled to wear your church dress and your opaque stockings, because when you find me there, you won't see me in any of that. So just come and be comfortable, right? So if your jeans
Yeah.
got holes in them, those the cute kind anyway. Okay, those the cute kind anyway, right?
Yes.
Just show up as you are, because I believe that there is purpose in all, and we can find it in Jesus.
Yes,
It's
and shout
virtual
out to
too.
the
It's
Yes,
virtual.
yes, we're
It's
on
virtual too. I
Facebook.
show up virtually.
Yes, you do. Yep, we stream on Facebook and download our app, the St. Luke United Methodist Church app, so you can be up to date on what we're doing.
yes, and also, shout outs to, the members of CCS who have taken the invitation
Yes,
and
yes.
have
Mhm.
came
Oh, y'all
to
shows up.
yes, to CCS, comes to St. Luke. So I appreciate that. I'm look at me. You would think I had a bus. I come pick you up. Do everything, you know what I'm saying? It is not, with trying to convert anybody or anything like that. I just know, like she said, with therapy and things like that, sometimes you need a little extra because your light bill might be due this week, or your rent might be late, or just anything, you just don't have the faith, you might not have food in your refrigerator, or you just having issues with people around you, and you're trying to change, and it's like everything is in you, fighting for you not to. Sometimes you need somewhere else to go to get poured into, so that energy and all of that can get transferred onto you as well, just to let you know it's going to be okay. So shout outs to the members. I ain't gonna put their names out there, you know what I'm saying, but I want to say it's more than 10. It's, it's more
Hey,
than 10.
y'all.
Yes, it's more than 10, and some of them watching tonight. I ain't gonna throw them out there because some of them watching it. But I just appreciate that, because anybody who's accepted invitation, I threw the invitation out there. And thank y'all for that. I choose and make the decision to be the example and the change that I want to see in the world. So the fact that, I might not can get you to like, comment, subscribe, and show up every week, but hey, if I'm able to get you to come to the church, I'm doing something right. So thank y'all for that. So I appreciate that. I appreciate all of y'all from
And she mean
CCS.
what she say by everybody welcome too.
For
Like
sure.
I can honestly say I've been calling you Sasquatch to my mom, low key. I was like, she's a unicorn. Like they don't exist. Like we've been taught that they don't exist.
Yeah.
And it's very rewarding for me. Like just personally, I definitely want to say thank you to you because I've never experienced a pastor like you ever in my whole
Me either.
36 years.
Oh,
Never.
wow.
I've never come across. I didn't even believe it when Candace was saying it at first. I was like, girl, whatever. Like you camping, like you telling stories. You know what I mean? Like, but it was like, nah. Like when my mom started saying it, I was like, wait. You know what I mean? And then I got to experience it for myself. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
So I just want to put that out there that you mean what you say by like walking in your purpose and accepting everybody. That's
Yes.
Yeah.
real.
And I was
Thank
I
like,
mean,
you.
you here
Shanice,
with
and I
me.
was like,
Great.
Shanice,
You
I was
here
like,
on the
Shanice,
show
I
with
never did
me,
that.
for God's
Right.
sake.
Look,
And I'm
I
like,
asked for
Shanice,
you. I was like, "Where's Shanice? She coming on?"
she did. She asked for you. You are here. She summoned you, okay? And I was
And
like,
that's
I'm gonna find
insane.
out. She asked for you. So I was like, all right, we're gonna do it. Definitely, she is. And I say that all the time when people are like, oh no, oh God. I was like, it's not what you think. She's not what you think. It's not what you thinking. And of course I know people we have their own doubts, but everyone who's come, they be like, oh dang, I feel like I knew her forever. Or like, wait a minute,
Right.
hold on. I even had a few of my friends that actually joined the church
Mm-hmm.
too.
Mm-hmm.
So I say all the time, find out for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever
Mm-hmm.
feel like we gotta be dressed up, just look at my pictures on my page. And more importantly, one thing she gonna do, she don't care about the angle or not.
Sneaking
She's
in.
gonna post this picture of you on the St. Luke Church page, okay? So if ever in doubt about what to wear to church, go over to St. Luke Facebook page.
Listen, I had my son in Bible study this week today.
I
Oh yeah, I
saw
saw
him.
that.
I
I saw that.
saw
I
him.
had my baby in Bible study
I
today. Like
saw
it's
him.
real.
Yes, I
Yeah.
saw him. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It was
And
lovely being on this platform with you ladies.
I know I'm sorry we didn't
I
have
appreciate
anything
it, baby.
listed down what to say, but I'm gonna do it better next time for y'all. We're gonna get some structure. And before we go to I just wanted to say how communication is important. Shanice, I'm about to talk about you.
Oh
Because
my God.
for y'all who don't
I know
know,
I knew we wasn't gonna be able to get off this. I had to take my glasses off. I don't even want to see you right now. I knew you was fixing to do it. I felt it in my spirit.
because I feel like it's important. Communication is important because
No, it is.
Shanice cussed me out a couple weeks ago.
I did not cuss you out. I did not curse at all.
She sent me a nasty gram. But this is why I love it because I like to bring the things that happen in experiences because people can learn and grow from them, right?
Agreed.
So I had sent Shanice a message. Shanice had asked me a message because she didn't get to make Bible study a couple weeks ago, right, Pastor? And she was like, hey, can you tell me what we're talking about? I mean, can you tell me whatever? I was like, sure. And I was like, you had brought up the thing about procrastination. So I sent her everything you said, right, about procrastination, all of this. This girl sent me a message like, really, Candace, you too? My son holds precedence. Nothing comes from my son. I can't believe you did. I'm shocked. I was like, what are you talking about? So
Well, you said what? I was like, yeah, I'm losing it. I'm
I
losing
didn't
it.
want to respond in a jacked up way. So this is why I think it's important for people to know. You gotta know how to communicate and just the malice and the heart posture of somebody, right? So I was still getting ready because I was on Bible study because you weren't over yet. And I was like, and it came in my head because that good thing go, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have to call her when the show's over or something. But I was like, no, I'm not gonna respond, attack that because that's the first thing you want to respond with, like, hold on. And
Right.
I said, but I had to say to her and let her know, I said, you asked me to tell you what we were talking about. And just so happened you felt the way because it was about procrastination.
Right.
And
Right.
you had been
Can't
procrastinating
argue that.
all day that day. So yes, let's chew on that for a minute, Shanice. Tell your part to the past.
Okay, yeah. So I did ask Candace because if I miss Bible study, I always ask her like, "Can you send me what we supposed to read so I can read it and be prepared for the following week?"
Right.
So when she sent it, she sent me what we were supposed to read, and then underneath of it, it was like the procrastination thing in quotations. Now, let me tell you about my day first. My son had stressed me out. I had like 3 papers due, all 3 pages. I was irritated. I ain't even gonna lie. And then I like to have a laundry list of things for whatever reason that I feel like I got to accomplish throughout the day, which this was a in this. And because I didn't accomplish a lot of it, I had bad thoughts in my head like, oh, you slacking, you ain't getting nothing done, you've been being lazy. No, you've been doing homework, bro. Like you're doing something. So when
Right.
Candace came with it, it was like, bro, like you too, like, come on, bro, like, come on, like, I can't catch a break. That's how I felt. Like everybody on my neck, the school, this boy, like I'm over it, you know. So, but what I love about that is that because we have a love for each other, like for real,
Right.
nobody took it personal.
Yeah.
It was like we knew that we had to talk to each other because she was thinking when the show over, I'm calling her. And I was thinking the same thing. As soon as that show ended, she called and I was like, I was just calling you. And we was able to talk about it. And I was able to apologize. Like, bro, that wasn't even on you. That was me projecting.
Yeah.
And I apologize about that because I was already having a day.
Yeah.
So communication is vital.
Communication is key.
Yes, it is.
Well, thank you guys for
Put me on
joining.
blast.
Thank you guys for joining
All
tonight.
right.
You know, I'm always taking one for the team, clearly. You know, I definitely, you know, do my best to practice what I preach. You know what I mean? So definitely make sure you guys tune in. Just go out, make tomorrow better than today, and just keep on striving to be excellent. And know who you are and become an individual and don't become a follower. And just know exactly who you are, where you want to be, where you're headed, and don't answer to what someone else says or thinks you should be. I will see you guys next Wednesday. Bye, everybody.
Candy coated secrets you see.